Hello, my name is Sergeant Rick Hernandez. I'm the Surprise Police Department's Public Information Officer. Hopefully everybody here has received a copy of the media advisory. This media advisory contains each speaker's name, rank, and agency. Each speaker will provide a brief statement, and we request that you hold all questions until each representative has an opportunity to speak. Standing with me I have, from the Surprise Police Department, Chief Benny Pina. From the Surprise Fire Medical Department, Chief Brendan Espy. From the Goodyear Police Department, Chief Art Miller. From the Buckeye Police Department, Chief Bob Sanders. And from the City of Surprise, Mayor Skip Hall. We brought everybody together today to discuss an incident that occurred on May 17th, when officers from the Surprise Police Department responded to a private residence after a 911 call was received about a woman and infant being held hostage. Officers arrived and heard multiple rounds of gunfire from inside the residence. Officers worked to force entry into the residence to rescue an infant, a seven-month-old baby Jackson. Once officers located baby Jackson, they ran him to firefighters, who immediately rendered medical aid. The suspect, identified as 51-year-old Todd Marchetti, refused to come out of the home, and after an hours-long standoff, set a fire started inside the home. Fire crews were unable to immediately tend to the fire due to sounds of gunfire coming from within the home. Once it was safe for investigators to enter the residence, they discovered the remains of Marchetti with an apparent gunshot wound to the head. Please allow me now to introduce Chief Benny Pina.
Good afternoon. I just have a few things that I want to cover today. Number one, thank my leadership team here in the city, to include the mayor, council members, and my fellow directors that are here that have, throughout this entire incident and throughout the entire weekend, offered me unwavering support and checking the condition of all of our employees, to include our unified fire and medical team, along with my police department. And when I say unified, when we talk about public safety, that's kind of be the theme of the day for both myself and Chief Espy. Not only do we plan and train together, but we have a cohesive environment with my training center, and our training center, I should say, and so that many of our employees are together all the time, and we have built a great community to serve our public. Thank you to Chief Bob Sanders for his department being the lead agency and taking the investigation at the end of this incident in the partnership of the West Valley Incident Response Team. And thank you to Chief Art Miller and Goodyear Police Department, because the call for tactical officers came out from my team, and our fellow SWAT team from Goodyear responded both equipment and held a perimeter as we were making entry into the home to try to resolve this. Also like to thank, even though they're not here, the Phoenix Police Department. I spoke to both Chief Sullivan and Assistant Chief DePonzio over the Tactical Support Bureau. If you didn't know, their special assignment unit had responded with equipment and manpower, and we're preparing to assume our tactical positions because of the heat and the prolonged activity that we had engaged with in trying to get the suspect to resolve this incident peacefully. And they were preparing to assume the tactical portion of this incident when the fire occurred, and essentially the barricade ended and we went into recovery mode. Chief Espy and his entire team that's here, leadership team, it is because of those meetings, the friendships, the lunches, the things we do together to bond ahead of time and make plans and be unified, that we've had success on Friday. I have to tell you all that I just went through an interview. Thank you, Jason. But and I get a lot of questions as to why. Why do these things happen and why surprise all of a sudden? And really, they haven't been. It's just, I think that all of you do a better job of covering these incidents, but causality is always the question. Why did this happen? Why did this happen? And I'm a longtime investigator, and I usually find out a lot of the things, but many times, and such as today, the why is never going to be answered because it's hugely illogical. And what I told my department in a message to them, in my continued message to them, is this is why we prepare. This is absolutely why we prepare every day the way we do, and why we prepare mentally and physically to be able to do things that sometimes others couldn't even imagine doing. And I think you're going to see that in this video, in our body-worn camera that we're going to release. And so you're going to see bravery, you're going to see heroics. However, every employee, both fire and PD, their first question to me wasn't the why, is the baby okay? Over and over again from every employee. Their selfless acts that day was completely focused on saving an infant that they didn't even know the name. I didn't even know the name. But we had resolved this in peaceful manner. We would have had successful prosecution because we were working so closely together that we had documented everything to show the depravity that had occurred. And I don't use words lightly like absolute humanity, because that is what I saw that day. And I was very proud of how we performed, but more proud of the fact is that you had not lost your humanity. My entire department maintained humanity. And in times like today, where things that happen that don't make absolute sense to you, that can ruin a career, that can cause so much damage to a community, because that's what our community keeps asking, why is these things happening? And it's really about what we're facing in society. Whether it's mental illness and domestic violence and substance abuse issues, these are all issues we stand resolved to keep our community safe. But you have to call us. You have to follow through with us. And you have to assist us with prosecution. And you have to show up for court appearances. And that's not specific to this case. That's specific to all folks. And so the message I sent today, please focus on this. If you're in a relationship that isn't healthy, that you feel is not to your benefit, that isn't supporting you, and is actually a threat to your life and to your future, call us. We'll be putting out some information on hotlines to be able to contact us if you need help with a domestic violence situation. If you have a family situation that you're not sure how you resolve, we will be focused on providing those services. And in meeting with the family today, expressed, my concern for our survivors and how we would stand with them. And I'll close with that, is that when incidents like this occur, oftentimes all of the uproar will die down, the attention will die down, but our resolve to assist your family in recovery is forever. And so, the same as I tell our recruit families, we're together now. You're part of the family because we've gone through something together. And it's our entire community. If I could get our entire community that wants to know how to help, we'll focus that attention too. But this family is hurting and they need your assistance. And so with that, I will turn this over to Chief Espy.
Thanks, Chief. Welcome and thanks to everyone for being here. I would like to echo Chief Pena's comments about the support from fellow directors, city manager's office, elected officials, mayor. Without your guys' support, I'm convinced that Friday's events definitely would have turned out different, and for that we're very thankful for the support we get here in the city. But before we continue discussing heroic actions of firefighters and police officers, I would like to first acknowledge the biggest hero of the day to me, which is Allie. Jackson's mom. Her actions saved not only her life, but the life of her son. Unlike our members in the PD and fire who train for situations like this daily, Allie had to make a split decision that will impact her life and Jackson's life forever. I would like her to know she should be very proud of her decision that she made. And I don't know that any of us know what we would do when we're faced with those types of situations. So for that, if you could please pass that on. I think Chief Pena and I have talked about this, and we just thank the world of her and for what she did that day. I'd also like to thank the construction workers and the folks that were in the neighborhood that day. Without their assistance, who knows where this would have went to. Allie, when she went out to contact them, anybody could have looked the other way or decided to not get involved. But Surprise is such an incredible community, and the cooperation between complete strangers that day, it's just really a testament of what this community is all about. Next, I'd like to touch on the actions of our fire department members once they took control of Jackson from the police department and the SWAT medics that you saw earlier, and some of those folks are here in the audience today. As police exited the home, they handed the infant, Jackson, to one of our SWAT medics who started to initiate care. While initiating care, this medic found the assigned treatment crew and coordinated the transfer of care. Then the crew quickly stabilized Jackson and transported into the landing zone, where minutes later he was airlifted to Phoenix Children's Hospital. Some of the things that our medics did for Jackson were a chest seal placed in his abdominal area, direct pressure applied to extremities to control bleeding, and medication therapy that was initiated before Jackson was airlifted. Again, I believe without these advanced treatments, I'm not sure what the outcome would have been. And so for that, we're grateful for all the EMS staff and the police department and the SWAT medics that helped us that day and to get Jackson into a good spot. I'd also like to acknowledge the flight crew and the staff at Phoenix Children's Hospital, which is where Jackson was taken. What they do routinely as well is unreal. Phoenix Children provided us with multiple updates late in the evening, which goes a long way for the mental health of all the responders. As Chief Pena mentioned, I think the biggest question for everybody involved that day was what the outcome of the infant was going to be. And so thanks to Phoenix Children's and everybody down there for keeping us up to date with that. We're very thankful for our partnerships with them and their willingness to provide us with ongoing updates. And as far as the firefight goes, as Chief Pena mentioned, unfortunately, with an unsecured scene, the fire department was not able to make an immediate attack on the fire. The decision was made to initially protect the house to the east, which once the PD was able to secure the scene, the fire department then moved in and with the protection of some of the SWAT teams here in town. I believe Goodyear and our SWAT team helped protect our members when they were applying water to the fire. I'd like to say that my sympathies go out to the family who lost their home, their possessions, and so many things that were important to them. My gratitude goes out to our police officers, firefighters, and the entire team that came together to ensure we didn't lose baby Jackson. It was everybody's efforts that saved a life on Friday, and I'm deeply thankful to all the first responders who worked tirelessly for that outcome. Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you, Chief Pena. Thank you, Chief Espy. At this time, folks, right now, we're going to transition a little bit. Please understand that this is still an ongoing investigation, but we worked very, very closely with the investigators to be able to release a portion of the response that our initial officers had. As I said, this is an ongoing investigation, so there's some components of this that we are unable to release, but I will set the stage for you somewhat. So our patrol officers are always going to be our first responders to any particular incident. When the video starts, you are going to see the patrol response, and you will hear what will happen that will elicit additional resources and response. We are very, very lucky in the city of Surprise. We are equipped with the resources to quickly respond, and we have the training to quickly respond to a number of situations. You will see then when the resources got there, just exactly what the officers faced as they entered the home to rescue baby Jackson. So at this time, I'll ask you to turn to the monitors, and you'll be able to see the video.
No? Hold on. It's not coming through the door. Just take to the front door. Get up, get up, get up. You guys flow. Off all the advice, we got him inside. He's taking the kitchen. We think he's in the 1-4 corner bedroom and the 3-bed kitchen. Again, be advised, he is inside. We think he's barricaded in the 1-4 corner bedroom. Go, 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 go. Watch out, watch out. Outside, outside, outside. Go, go, go. With the car, with the car, with the car, with the car. Empty gun. Empty gun. Baby, get the 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 baby. Get the baby. Go, 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 go. Get the baby, get the baby, get the baby. Go, back out, back out. Back out, back out, back out. Back out. We got the baby, we got the baby. We got the baby, we got the baby. Jackpot, jackpot, jackpot. We got the baby, we got the baby. We got the baby.
And folks, so that is the first time many of the officers and the family are seeing that response. At this time, what I am going to allow some time to do is for the family and some of the first responding officers to exit. I will read a statement from the family. I want you all to please understand that this is a very difficult time for the family. The family has been inundated with phone calls due to the national, local, and statewide interest in this particular incident. But we are going to request that the family has a chance and opportunity to heal together. I will read a statement provided to us by the family, and after this press conference, we'll make that video and the contact information for the family available to you. So that way any contacts from the press and the media are going to one particular source and allowing the family that opportunity to recover and heal together as a family. So at this time, if you give me a little bit of time, I'm going to have some dignitaries, officers, and family exit. You follow them, sir. And so again, this is a written statement provided by the family of baby Jackson. Welcome, and thank you for being here. Give me 1 second, I apologize. Had some folks bringing up different notes. All right, so here we go. Again, a message from baby Jackson's family. For a world that gets too exposed to so much bad these days, let me remind you that there is way more good, and we have proof. Our family would like to thank everyone who has donated money, clothes, food, and more. Our family is so grateful for your generosity, kindness, and compassion during these difficult times. We are so lucky to have a thoughtful family, friends, and even folks we've never met before. First and foremost, the recovery of our grandson Jackson occupies our every thought. This focus is on his recovery right now. Jackson is still in ICU, but making positive progress every day. He is one tough little dude. Seeing him in that hospital bed breaks our hearts, but also reminds us about how precious life is and just how much we love him. Thank you to the Surprise Police Department and Fire Department for their quick responses after shots rang out. Their quick responses is why Jackson is still with us. Thank you. Allie is understandably troubled by the events of last Friday. Her quick thinking and intuition helped save her life as well as Jackson's. She too is very thankful for the outpouring of kindness and generosity. Her work and personal friendships have been so helpful. Our home is sadly 100% gone. Most stuff can be replaced except for family memorabilia. We are trying to organize how we're going to rebuild our home. If you've ever had a house fire, you know how long this process can take. Lastly, the family would be remiss if they didn't discuss domestic violence. I'm sure I don't have to explain the seriousness of domestic abuse. If your son or daughter is experiencing or is a perpetrator of domestic violence, do the right thing and report it as soon as it happens. Lives depend on it. Again, on behalf of our family, thank you, and thank you for all the forms of support you have showed us in the past few days. God bless Mike, Susie, Allie, Nick, and baby Jackson. So with that, folks, I will open the floor open for questions. Again, hopefully everybody received a copy of the media advisory. This advisory will contain the names, rank, and spelling of each member in each agency. We're going to ask for a couple little house rules. We do have some folks from our communications teams here available to assist us. So if you raise your hand, a communications member will come to you with the microphone so everybody can hear questions so we don't have too many repeats. So with that, we'll open up for questions.
Thank you so much for putting this together. So I know initially when we were out on the scene, we were told that at least one officer fired at least one shot.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know if anyone was hurt by that shot?
We're not going to be able today at today's press conference to discuss the officer-involved shooting aspect of this incident.
Hi, Ashley Holden with ABC 15. Can you give us an update on Jackson's injuries? And I know they said that he was still in the ICU recovering, but any other update that you have?
So the most recent update we have from family this morning is he's undergone a total of 3 operations. All 3 operations have gone very, very well, and he is still in the hospital recovering, and we'll wait for the next update, but that is encouraging news, and the family is encouraged by his speedy progress so far.
And I think you said when you were kind of giving a brief summary at the beginning that you're now saying that the suspect did set that fire. I know that was kind of under investigation. Can you give an update on that?
I will tell you, and I'll be very specific so everybody is clear. The nature of how the fire started is absolutely 100% still under investigation.
Was there anybody from your department in the house when the fire started?
No, there was not.
Do you know which part of baby Jackson's body was struck by gunfire?
So what we'll tell you is it was lower extremities. Some of his limbs were struck, if we want to be a little bit more specific, but we're not going to try to help rehash exactly the nature of the injuries for the child. The most important point for us is that the child was able to get contacted, rescued in time to give him and his family that opportunity for him to recover and get medical treatment.
And do you know about how long between him being shot to officers being able to rescue him, about how long that was?
So because it was only him and Marchetti inside that residence, there's no way of being able to tell with a degree of certainty how long he was injured.
Hi, Jackie Lopez with Telemundo, Arizona. I know that when we were covering this on Friday, it was unknown how Ali was able to escape Machete. Is that known now? And can you share that part?
Yeah, so I'll just kind of give everybody a little bit of insight on how courageous Allie was on the 17th. So Allie used several ruses to try to free herself. Marchetti entered the residence around 3 a.m. He was armed with a machete, and he had intended to cause her harm while her family was away on vacation. Miss Allie courageously came up with several ruses, one of which was to try to seek care for the family pet. The family pet was shot by Marchetti. She used a ruse to get the animal care, and she had hoped that when they left the residence to get care, she'd be able to alert someone and have the authorities contacted. That opportunity did not present itself to her. I can tell you, because it has been reported by a couple outlets, that yes, the dog was taken to a vet. The unfortunate aspect of it is the dog was had to be euthanized due to the injuries sustained. Marchetti did not take responsibility for this. He told the veterinary personnel that the dog was a stray, the dog was hit by a car and they found it. He gave them a fake name and a fake phone number. When that opportunity for her to free herself from him didn't work, she was persistent, and she was able to come up with another ruse because he had damaged a window when he entered the residence. She was able to quickly think on her feet again, and she said, I can go get workers who can fix this, and then nobody will know what you had done. And she was able to go out that window, seek help, and then requested those folks out of the kindness of their hearts to contact 911. And I think she, by doing so, was able to save not only her life, but Jackson's life.
Thank you. Are you able to say which part of the house you found Marchetti in?
So, you all have just seen that video. He was located when he was found. Now, this was a very long, hours-long process. He was found in what would be a closet just past where the officers located baby Jackson.
And was that a bedroom? Are you able to say?
It's difficult to say. It's a bedroom closet entry.
And then also, whether your department or other departments around the state, has there been previous calls between these two or pertaining to these two in the past?
So when we talked on Friday, we discussed a previous domestic violence related issue here in the city of Surprise. I don't think it's a secret. The home and community that this incident occurred in is brand new. There's only a handful of occupied homes on that particular block, with many of them under construction. We do not have a lot of history with Marchetti here in the city of Surprise. That previous incident that we referenced on May 17th that had happened prior was reported by family members. The reports were of some threatening and harassing behavior and was assigned to detectives. That assignment to detectives is the status of the case when the incident on May 17th occurred. Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to say why Marchetti chose to target Allie and Jackson on that day?
So again, with the nature of how this incident resolved itself, we're not able to speak to him. We can only kind of draw inferences about his behavior. What I will tell everybody here in this room is this is domestic violence. Domestic violence is about power and control. I would say that this was most likely about power and control. She had left him. She was trying to make a better life for herself and her child. And he was trying to exude power and control over her once again when her family was out of the state on vacation.
I know you had previously mentioned, a situation of domestic violence. As I understand it, he also has other kids from a different relationship. Are there any reports of domestic violence in those relationships?
So what I can tell you in our review of his history, in other jurisdictions, there's multiple reports of domestic violence. Those reports do include incidents involving himself and Allie, and those reports also do involve him in a juvenile.
And then last question, just related to that, was there a protection order that Allie had to protect herself?
There was no order of protection active at the time of this incident.
Hi, Bowen Overstoles, KTR News, back here. Question from the newsroom first. Are you able to provide a timeline at all for when he allegedly took the dog to the vet?
Offhand, no. My understanding, it was very early in the morning, but the exact timeline, I can't give you how long they were away from the residence. What I can tell you is the entire family took the dog to the emergency animal clinic for treatment. The dog was left there, and the dog ended up having to be euthanized from the gunshot wound it sustained.
Another question from the newsroom. Can you clarify who the homeowner was in this?
So the homeowner is the grandparents. It will be Allie's mother and father.
Thank you.
I may have missed this, but can you tell us how many times Jackson was shot?
So he had multiple injuries to his lower extremities. I will be very honest with you. We have heard varying numbers because we are talking about a very, very dear little precious child. So it is very difficult to give an exact number, but he had numerous injuries to his lower extremities.
Lauren Clark here with Channel 10. Thank you so much for doing this press conference. Can you talk a little bit about the emotional toll this has on officers when it comes to such a young infant being injured in this crime?
Thank you, Lauren. I think when we all just watch that body-worn camera footage, you can hear the reaction from the officers. They were not receiving any stimulus when they went inside. The only time they said that they weren't hearing gunfire during this incident is when they made entry. And then you can hear when they were going, there was no cries from baby Jackson. Baby Jackson's family has told us that that baby does not cry. And I believe wholeheartedly that if there was a cry, officers would have went right to him. But they saw that there was an empty handgun when they went to go to baby Jackson's area, leading to the area where Marchetti was found and located. And I believe 100% in my heart that baby Jackson called out to those officers, telling him where they were. And that allowed them to get him to safety and get him to care and get him on the path to recovery.
I know you've said that baby Jackson was shot multiple times. Was he injured any other way?
To the best of my knowledge, no.
Was there any contact between police and the suspect as well, through walls or shouting or anything?
So we had negotiators attempting to make contact multiple times for several hours, and there was never any positive contact via telephone. We did see movement that was reported multiple times, and throughout the time when he was refusing to exit the residence peacefully, we were hearing gunfire, and that included when the house was on fire. We were still hearing gunfire.
You mentioned how the whole family went to the vet. Do you have any recommendations to be able to recognize signs when somebody might be needing help? Because had they maybe recognized that during the vet, we would have maybe had a different situation right now.
So I can tell you, the family reached out multiple times. Domestic violence, as Chief Pena explained, can be very, very difficult cases. Family can offer resources, and family can be those great sounding blocks, but the victims being able to show up in court, escape that control and power struggle that is going on is very, very difficult. The best thing I can tell folks is you know your family, you know your loved ones, and when you're seeing those differences and changes of behavior, you try to get them help, and you be as supportive as you can and encourage them either to leave a toxic relationship, leave an unhealthy relationship, or if there is actual domestic violence, there is physical abuse, there is emotional abuse, there's threats, harassing, stalking, contact your local authorities.
In the time that Machete broke into the home and had them both hostage, did the family try to communicate with her, and did they find it odd if she was not able to? Did any of them call the police or somebody to check in on them?
Unfortunately, I believe, and again, I can't speak for Machete, we don't have an interview. We can only believe he was aware that the family was going to be out of state and unavailable to assist. And with that, I think it provided him that opportunity to re-victimize our victim.
Going back to those recommendations that I was asking, what about for the situation where she went into the vet and people that were working there? What are some signs that, maybe you can see that somebody's in distress, maybe in trouble, that you can pick up and contact the police to help them?
That one's very difficult because I wasn't there. We don't have a good context of how that interaction played out at the vet clinic. I'm sure those folks, they love and care for animals just as much as they love and care for humans. They had a very severely distressed and injured animal. I'm sure that was probably where their focus was, which probably didn't allow them to pick up on some of those indicators that there was something going on. Something that we'll just kind of let everybody know. The city of Surprise, it's a safe community. As the family has talked about, there's been an outpouring of care and concern for this family, offering resources. Our community cares for a lot of folks. And we have a great community that usually will stand up, speak up, and it has helped us in law enforcement quite a bit. But I just want to encourage everybody, and I don't want to get a number wrong. So if you or someone you know is struggling with domestic violence, and that is going to happen to just about anybody, anywhere, through any walk of life, domestic violence can touch you, please contact your local police department or the National Domestic Violence Hotline, which is 1-800-799-SAFE. Again, that number is 1-800-799-SAFE.
There's mention of Machete having a machete and an empty handgun outside of the room. Do we know in total how many more weapons he had? I know it mentioned that he died to a self-inflicted gunshot wound, so that would be 3 weapons so far. Do we know how many weapons there were in total?
We do not. All right. With that, I encourage everybody to, like I said, follow us on social media for any updates. As we conclude this press conference here, any further updates are going to be coming from the Buckeye Police Department as part of the Westford OIS protocols. We will reach out to folks to get you a copy of the video that you had seen today, and we will be providing you GoFundMes, and that is something that we really encourage our families and our community to do, is help support these families. There is only 2 approved GoFundMes by the families to assist them through this. So we will make sure that you guys have both of those so you can share those with your followers and viewers. Thank you.